I am so fucking tired. I really am. 2017 was not a great year for me. Hell, 2018 hasn't been a good start for me either. I know you guys didn't come here to hear me bitching, but seriously, some of these episodes took forever. I have a throbbing headache right now, but I do this for you guys, and that's all that matters. So I guess this is going to be my only list this time, since I barely did any movie reviews. I really let things get out of hand. So enough about that. Let's cover the top 11 worst episodes I reviewed in Season 4. Now, since I only reviewed 11 episodes last year, there will be no honorable mentions this time. Anyways, let's get started. Now, with a few simple tweaks to the writing, I would have never reviewed this episode in the first place. And everything going for it too. It shows how fucking annoying Peter can be sometimes. It shows the ridiculous process of voting for two candidates that aren't really that great in the first place. This episode had good intentions in mind, but a few key factors kept this episode down. Like someone like Kyle putting a hit on Stan and threatening to kill him if he doesn't vote on his side, or Stan being exiled and shamed for no reason due to the ending. This wasn't really a bad episode. It was just a mixed one. However, it could have been a lot more, and it kinda disappointed me when it wasn't.
We'll free you.
Just sit still for a moment.
Oh, thank God.
Get off of him, you filthy human!
Just like Douche and Turd, this episode had an interesting idea to it, but what they did with it made the episode bad. So get this, because Timmy read Poof a scary story, he decides to let Timmy wish that it was pitch black for 12 hours, which leads to a bunch of saber-toothed tigers with night vision to attack everyone. I know this is the excuse that Cosmo Wanda only did this to scare Timmy, like he scared Poof. But couldn't they have done it in a way that didn't harm him and other people? And I still couldn't get past the fact that the majority of this episode is just a bunch of eyes on a black screen. That's it. Surprisingly, this isn't the laziest the show has gotten. We'll get more into that later on. Man, this episode was so slow and so boring. And when it wasn't boring, it was being contrived with its writing.
We can't fight them. Of course we can. Yes, we can, but we can't. We have to respect our elders.
Oh, really? Even though the majority of the villains you fight are older than you. I admit Blossom does deserve some of the blame here for not taking these guys down, but also blame the police force for not handling the situation either. The Ministry of Pain are so weak that the cops here could have arrested all of them and called it a day. But no, let's not do that. Let's have these two retired heroes do our jobs for us, and make sure that every action they do drags out for as long as possible. This is not funny. It's boring, and it's really stupid. Is anybody getting tired of the status quo excuse? Because I am. I understand sitcoms use this trope to reset everything for the next episode, but at least the characters learned a lesson or grew a little bit in the end. Bad episodes like this use the status quo as an excuse. We learned that if Vicky doesn't babysit Timmy, then basically the whole world is fucked. And doomed for all we know. Well, except for the fact that Vicky is hired for multiple babysitting jobs. She doesn't only watch over Timmy. And if you're thinking, well, if Vicky isn't Timmy's babysitter, then Timmy won't need his fairies anymore. Well, you know Timmy still has his horrible, careless parents, the school bully Francis, Mr. Crocker, and God knows what else. Wouldn't that be enough for him to have fairies? I think so.
Guess what, Twerp? It's game night!
Are you guys shocked that Family Guy episode didn't even crack my top 5? It went up against some tough competition, so to speak. This basically started a trend of Brian being an outright prick, especially towards Stewie when he leaves him to get stabbed on the street. Oh yeah, until recently, Family Guy's been doing this kind of anti-humor where pretty much the majority of the episode has to have something mean-spirited in it. And on top of it being mean-spirited, it can get really boring as well. They dedicate like 5 whole minutes with Brian talking with Bill Maher. I'm not kidding. Well, at least Brian's character got better in the new episodes. But I'm still not gonna forget episodes like this.
This isn't about all the things you did wrong. It's about me apologizing.
Okay, then apologize.
I just did.
Crazy Day is just 11 minutes of pure bullshit. That's all it is. And unfortunately that description applies to a lot of episodes of Teen Titans Go. No good story or writing here, it's just 11 minutes of stupid nonsense. I've actually seen shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Squidbillies, and Robot Chicken, and those shows have more of a point and are more enjoyable than Teen Titans Go as a whole. I was even just kind of whining throughout the review because I just wanted to get through this episode as fast as possible. I may not review another Teen Titans Go episode for a while, unless it's like really bad. But hey, maybe I'm a hater or something. Bashes like this don't get a full-fledged movie in theaters, right? So maybe I'm missing something.
Crazy day!
Okay, so take the whole concept of Homer and Marge breaking up, make up a poor excuse for them to split up, then have them get back together for little to no reason, and have this type of episode once or twice every season. Do you see how annoying this can get? From using this tired trope to using amnesia to change Marge's character to the point where she doesn't remember him and hates him. And Homer is the one that ends up begging and pleading her to come back, even though that everything that is happening to her, including her amnesia, is all her fault. But the show has to go back to its status quo sooner or later. So she remembers that Homer is an alcoholic and they get back together. Well, until they split up again in another episode. It's times like this that make me wish that Homer and Marge just stayed divorced, so we won't have to see something like this ever again. This show really needs to end.
That's 2, Zud?
Now, people bash on Powerpuff Girls all the time, but let's not take into account the later half of the original Powerpuff Girls, or Double Rainbow since it was a fan project. But we still have to acknowledge that the 2014 special and the 2016 reboot still exist. Now, I literally watched like 10-11 episodes of the first season and just gave up. I tried to like this and just couldn't. This reboot was either going to be the Rise of the Powerpuff Girls series or its final nail in the coffin. This is the latter. It's annoying, it's filled with all this modern type humor with iPhones and twerking. It's just a by-the-numbers modern-day reboot where it focuses on the comedy more than anything else. Cartoon Network has done this type of show 3 times, and it's getting worse and more stale the more they do it. I'm not reviewing another episode of this show if it's really bad, because I haven't checked out the second season yet, because why bother? But despite all this, I've seen outdated humor done worse, and you'll see what I mean later on this list.
Story. Check it. So, there's this guy at the construction yard, Mac. So, he says his forklift can crush anything. Anything! And I'm all like, I'm stronger than that, and anyway.
I know hating on SpongeBob is pretty much irrelevant nowadays, but just because SpongeBob got better, it doesn't mean episodes like this never existed. And I gotta say, this episode was pretty infamous at one point, and for good reason. SPONGEHENGE was all over the place. It felt like a bunch of different plots from other episodes crammed together. For one minute it was about a windstorm blowing to Bikini Bottom, then it was about jellyfishing chasing SpongeBob down, then he gets stuck in a cave, and then we get taken to a desolate future. Yeah, I had no idea where this episode was going either. But I still managed to watch a SpongeBob episode last year that was somehow worse than this. Do you guys know that I hate Patrick Star to no end, to the point where he was one of the worst animated characters I've seen on television? Seriously, his character was even worse than Brian Griffin. Patrick at his worst is either a brainless, careless idiot, or is a pompous, selfish asshole. In this episode, he constantly causes all this bullshit for the sake of the plot. He took Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's machine to the past because he thought it was a snack machine. He did bat of tartar sauce that was crucially taken down Man Ray in the past, takes SpongeBob back to the present, and leaves the 2 heroes behind to die, and when he goes back to the past again, he eats the tartar sauce again, to the point where he causes a time paradox. And after all of this, Patrick is unwilling to own up to his own actions. In fact, other people like SpongeBob are put to blame for something he caused. And you may think that this is just a SpongeBob episode and you're not supposed to take it seriously. Well, except for the fact that at some parts of the episode, it wants you to take it seriously, and at other points it doesn't. Whatever way you look at this, Back to the Past failed.
The consequences of altering the order of history are so dangerous, we've chosen to leave it alone. So you mustn't touch.
Hey, the snack machine took my quarter.
If any of you guys managed to catch the last Wiiteen Star of Animations video I did, before it got taken down that is, they should already know what my #1 spot is. Nearly every single episode I reviewed for this series at least tried to do or say something. The Boondocks Season 4 was an utter disappointment to a great series, but it tried to make decent episodes. The fourth wall goes after critics and fans alike with this message, but it tries in some areas. Certifiable Super Sitter proves that the Fairly Odd Parents isn't even trying to come up with fresh new ideas anymore. I couldn't find anything positive about this. I stopped watching the show a little after Season 9 started, but I thought it couldn't get any worse than this. Well, guess what? I was wrong. It can get worse. Much worse. To the point where it's become manipulative and pandering to today's youth by constantly shoving in memes and smartphones in our faces. to the point where the writers and the producers and the animators and whoever is behind the show now is doing the bare minimum to make these episodes. You have to dumb everything down to a level where this show won't entertain anyone over the age of 5. But hey, it's age appropriate and family friendly, so how can it be bad? This all seems familiar. But in all seriousness, this was painful to watch, review, and edit. If my 27-minute review of this episode and the overall downfall of this cartoon didn't convince you of how toxic the show has gotten, then nothing will. Well, that is when you got a chance to see it. I was kind of conflicted on whether the creators should give this show another season. I think I've made my decision. Just let the show die already. If this cartoon gets revived, it won't get any better. For all we know, it can get worse. It's a good thing I moved to Nicktoons then. However, if any of you guys, from the people behind the scenes to the fans who still want to support this, have any respect for the Fairly Odd Parents, then do the right thing and leave it alone. Well, there goes another year. It's time to start 2018 with a clean slate and make some real changes. Hopefully 2018 will be a great and a better year for all of us. Oh, fuck. Wow. Okay then, we gotta end this video on something positive. Let's end it with some of Rick's funny catchphrases.
Wubba lubba dub dub! Ricky ticky taffy bitch! And that's the way!
Oh, fuck this.